Hey, good morning. So today is officially the start of Shed Wars 22 Northern Hemisphere. And earlier this morning, John, our fearless leader on Team Will It Grow, put out a explanation and a challenge. He explained what the level 1 and the level 2 badges were for. Well, now I don't have any badges because I did not successfully complete last year's growing season. So I have something to prove. So level 1 was, and I'll have to double check, to grow 20 pounds of onions. I've never successfully grown an onion. Chives, yes. Onions, no. And the level 2 was to grow 50 pounds of potatoes. So I am going to level up because I don't have it, and I plan or hope to be able to achieve an honorary level 2 by the end of the season. So let's get started. And I'm sure everyone's seen this before. I don't have seed starting mix. I am just using a compost fertilized soil to start my seeds. And I'm going to be using plethora onion seeds from Haas Tools. So I watched some of their videos, looked like they had great success. So I'm going to give it a shot. I don't really know how many plants I need in order to grow 20 pounds of onions. If they get a pound a piece, that's easy, but no clue. So I'm just going to plant what I've got here, put them under my grow lights, and see if they sprout. So nothing fancy. I got about 30 seeds in here. Put my dome on, put the light on. Bada bing, bada boom. Wait and see. And now on to the potatoes. Ordered seed potatoes from Haas, but I guess due to the extreme weather up north, we had a little late coming in. Being in zone 9, our planting season for potatoes starts typically the first week in February, so we're not that far behind. These are Irish cob potatoes that I just got in. They look pretty good. Got a lot of eyes on them. So what you do when you get your potatoes is you want to cut them into pieces. Probably, I usually cut them in quarters, just depending on how many eyes. You want at least 2 to 3 eyes per piece, and then you leave them sitting in a box in a dry area, and I will probably close these up, but you want them to do what's called heel over, so where the cut slices will actually dry out, and that way when you put it in the ground it's not going to rot. So give me a second and let me do that. Okay, so I've cut the potatoes. And you can see a lot of them I just cut in half, and some of them are, cut into smaller pieces. And then the smaller potatoes, I just left them whole. So the next step would be, and it's not a required step, most people will allow them to sprout. These eyes will actually sprout up, which is called a chit, C-H-I-T, chit. And that's where you get chits up, because when you plant them in the ground, you want to make sure that your chits are facing up. So, yeah, so these will be going, I'm going to give them a few days. I don't know if I'm going to, chitting usually takes about 4 weeks, 3 to 4 weeks. And I'm just going to watch the weather because I don't want it to get too warm before I get them in the ground. But I will leave them in here definitely for a couple days and let all the moisture come out of these. So that way when you plant them, like I said, they won't rot in the ground. Now, depending on the type of potato that you get, there are 2 different types. One is just like tomatoes. One is determinate and one is indeterminate. Now what happens is when you plant the potato, an indeterminate will sprout up, and then you will heel it up or bury it more in soil, allow it to sprout up, and every layer that you put on, it will put out additional roots or sprouts underneath the ground and grow the tubers that turn into potatoes. With a determinate potato, when you put it in the ground, it's just going to produce whatever that one plant is. You will still heel the plant up, and while it will get taller, it will not put out additional sprouts and keep producing potatoes up closer to the top of the soil. So again, and then depending on your zone, it's going to determine the time of year you plant. Now, since I don't have in-ground planting space for potatoes, these will be planted in containers. I am going to try to do some in in the 15-gallon grow bags, and I will update you on that process in another video. Hey everybody. Okay, so you saw me get the Irish cobbler potatoes, and you saw me cut them into sections and allow them time to heal up. They've been in the box now for a little over a week. They're healed up, and as you can see, the eyes are starting to sprout or chit. So now comes the time to plant them. Old timers will tell you you plant your potatoes on Valentine's Day, but you also don't plant your potatoes on a full moon, so we have to wait until we get a waning moon. So that's where we are now. Today is the 19th, I believe, of February. We have a waning moon. My potatoes are ready to go in the ground. Now, normally I like to let the sprouts get a little bigger, and Tank is going to help me today because he helps with everything, including walking. But I've never really been successful at potatoes because I grow in containers. So I have upgraded my containers. I have put drainage holes in the bottom. I'm going to be adding a potting mix and a compost to about 6 inches, and then I will be putting in the potatoes. And let me get the dirt in there, and I'll show you where we're at. Okay, we have our soil. Okay, I'm only doing 3 tubs out here. So this is not in my normal area of my garden. This is out in the back corner of my yard near some of my banana trees. I have this huge ant bed going. Gotta take care of that. But anyway, so got the dirt in here, and all I'm gonna do are take these potatoes and set them around in a circle, and you notice that the chits are up. Let's see if I can show you that. Okay. Now, I don't want to crowd them because I do want them to have room. So like on this one, I gotta turn him a little bit here. One of the reasons you let them heal over is because potatoes really don't like moisture. They will tend to rot in the ground if they're too wet. So even if I get rain, because I let them heal over, they should come up just fine. I think I'll put one more in the center here. Okay, so that's what I'm doing. 6 per pot, and then any of the leftovers I will put a single into 5-gallon buckets. Stick around, let me get these in the ground and we'll finish up. Let me back up a second. There is something I forgot here, so I'm going to pull these out real quick because it's very important that I add blood and bone meal. So I'm going to give a good healthy dose of blood and bone meal, and then put these potatoes back in. Okay, I've added in the bone and blood meal. I have put the spuds back in, the seed potatoes back in the ground. I do have quite a few left over because I only did 6 per pot. So what's going to happen with these guys is I'll take a good bit of these and probably plant them in 5-gallon buckets. Now I'm going to take a bag of potting mix and cover them up, water them in, and then let's just see what happens. So again, I've not been successful growing potatoes. I've had a few small ones, but never really good haul. So I already have potatoes that I got from Haas Tools. These are Irish cobbler potatoes, and if I can get to it, I cut them and I put them in this box, and it's been really cool, so I left them outside, which might not have been such a great idea. They are starting to sprout, and they're already healed over, and I guess I'm going to put them in 5-gallon buckets. Let me see what I can find for containers and get these things in the ground. If you have any tips or tricks, leave them in the comments below. I'd be anxious to hear your take on what I'm doing wrong, what I could improve on, or just, hide and watch. Love you guys. Peace out.